Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the esteemed FaceTime with Leaders and Initiative by World Development Corporation. My name is Tanayol, and I'm an anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry veterans to come together to share their knowledge, ideas, thoughts, and best practices with one another, as well as with upcoming industry leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings of all our industry stalwarts. We hope that by conducting these FaceTime with Leader interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders, as great learnings from great leaders inspire everyone, right? They help us to identify, nurture, and work on trade secrets that have already proven a success formula for so many. And this is what we aim for with these sessions by making them a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge sharing community. We have one such industry stalwart on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Mr. Ganesh Panchanathan. We welcome you on the show, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Tanay.
Our pleasure, sir. He embodies a result-driven approach coupled with unwavering commitment to ethical governance. With expertise in agile program management, he demonstrates a fervent passion for nurturing talent and fostering people development. He effortlessly collaborates across all organizational levels within cross-matrix environments with prominent contributions in sales operations, business finance, people, and talent management and compliance roles. With a tenure spanning over 3 decades, he has demonstrated remarkable leadership and strategic acumen across facets within HP, India, Singapore, and Hong Kong. As the market compliance lead in Bengaluru since 2020, he has spearheaded the successful implementation of HP's first direct shipment initiative in supplies, thereby eliminating unethical practices in rebate payouts while ensuring genuine HP products reach customers. He has a 6-year-long track record of exceeding revenue targets consistently, heading and expanding the Center of Excellence for Finance, driving services warrant cost reductions across the Asia-Pacific region, and creating and implementing direct shipment of HP supplies in India. So, sir, to begin with, could you walk us through your career journey at HP, highlighting your significant achievements and contributions in various roles and regions?
Sure, Tanay. Good morning to you and good morning to everyone in the call. I'm excited and thankful to you for setting up this call. As I walk through my 30 years journey, I'll try to be concise. Please bear with me. It has been 3 decades. I joined to lead the service sales operations in India way back in 1992. For 6 consecutive years, we ensured the top line revenue target in US dollar terms was achieved, even in difficult times like the Bombay Stock Exchange bombing, US sanctions on many Indian establishments after the Pokhran tests, fluidic forex exchange rates. Nothing deterred us from achieving our revenue targets in US dollar terms. After Compaq took over Digital Equipment Corporation, one of the main challenges was to embrace Compaq's systems, tools, processes, products across the globe. So I seized the opportunity to change my role from sales operations to transformation. And along with that, I relocated to Singapore, to the Compaq headquarters in Singapore, along with my family. While managing the transformation from Singapore, came surprises like the 9/11 at the US. Then we had HP Compaq mega merger happened, and this created turbulence in the business world. I changed my profile again to lead finance for indirect services for Asia Pacific region, leading all the 14 countries. The focus was to improve top line in the indirect services business. The top line revenue grew under my control from about 13% year on year, while the overall services was growing only at 8%, which means the indirect business that we made through those partners, we were growing at a faster pace. After some years, when the top line started to stabilize, I changed my focus to reduce expenses to improve the profits. Top line alone was not helping us to generate the kind of profits that we had aspired for. So my recommendation to the executive management team was to consolidate all the finance tasks that we do across the 14 APJ countries. They're pretty much similar because the process tools and policies are very similar. My argument was, why don't we consolidate them and why don't we automate them and put them in maybe in a near shore or offshore? I think we had a pretty lengthy and honest discussions around that and debate about that. We looked at places like Malaysia, Philippines, near in India, and all that stuff. And we did quite a detailed study in terms of what we want to consolidate and where do we want to place and how do we manage that, because it's pretty new for us, because we are removing the finance operations from the business and putting it some faraway place and trying to get the best results out of it. So I think the credibility built over a decade by that time was able to convince that that was the best thing to do from a finance organization to reduce the cost. So I relocated myself to Chennai. We looked at the offshore center, the finance center of excellence. It is very small number of 3 or 4 people, could expand it to 60 members in very quickly in about two years itself. But the most important thing is we brought in business critical finance roles from Europe into India. I mean, that's a huge risk that we took, very calculated risk we took, but then it paid off a very rich dividends by doing that, not only in terms of improving the profits, but improving a backup plan for us just in case something happens in Europe. We have a business continuity plan from India to do the business critical roles like the predictive and prescriptive analytics from Bangalore. Then when HP split into two companies in 2015, I think my interest naturally tended for warranty cost reduction. I had the choice of going towards the HP enterprise to look at again services and servers and all that, or look at the hardware side like the PCs and the printers and the notebooks, which my exposure was really limited, and I thought that this is a great opportunity to learn. So I moved on to the PC side, which is HP Inc., and again came back to the transformation office. But here the objective was how do we reduce the warranty cost, which is a very big animal in the room. It was about 5.6% as a services revenue. We want to aspire to bring it to 3.5% in 2 years. And we did a good job in reducing that to 3.5 years. Now, in my journey, talking to people in finance organizations across the globe, how do they manage their warranty costs, and how do they manage the services revenue, how do they sell the products to the market, I got to know a lot of people in finance. And what I found is there is a good amount of synergy. There's also a good amount of diversities in what we do. And when I shared that with the senior leaders in finance, saying that how people play an important role and why is it so important for us to manage the talent and people, they were quite excited to create a new office called People Experience Program, which is nothing but your L&D, Learning and Development for Finance. So I was interviewed by the HP's CFO staff, and a position was offered to create a talent transformation office for finance. Now we did quite a remarkable job there in terms of working with the certification agencies like the CMAs and CFAs, so that we can have more employees getting certified there. We also looked at multiple agencies across the globe for bringing and upskilling soft skills, like the executive communications and all that stuff. There are about 4,000 employees, more than 70 sites. I could travel to many sites. There are big sites where we have 2,000 employees like Bangalore, and there are some small sites like 7 employees in Czechoslovakia, but I was pretty fortunate to talk to all of them. And in my last tenure at HP, I was leading the compliance for HP India. Now, this involved working with all the stakeholders, not only finance, but also legal and marketing and sales and all this within India, within the other parts of the world for HP, and also within the outside of HP. Like we had a couple of guidances coming in from a legal fraternity also for this. The objective was to ensure fairness in the business, improve transparency, improve credibility and accountability, because many times when the salespeople go out to the market, they give out all fancy promises just to bag some deals. The question is, how do we educate our own people to behave with such an amount of credibility, and also talk to partners in terms of how should they receive information? What should be the credible resource? It can't be like somebody calling on the phones and WhatsApps and messages and all that stuff. So it is a huge turnover that we could do from a compliance role perspective. And as you said, Tanvi, I think the direct shipment was one of the transformative role that we did as part of compliance, because we saw a lot of rebate leakages and genuine products siphoned off going somewhere else, not to the intended customers. So we said for HP supplies, which is a very profitable line of business and also easy to be, moving out, we said we will do direct shipment from the distributor's warehouse to the customers. Of course, that means a huge amount of stakeholder management, risk management, and hand holding. But we did that, right? We did so very well that after 2 years, our strongest competitor also embraced direct shipments. Now, in December 2023, I retired from HP. In summary, 3 decades of journey with HP was a mix of good times and challenging times.
Wonderful, sir. So, how has working across multiple regions influenced your approach to leadership and problem solving?
It's a good one, right? Very tricky one also. My collaboration, it's not that I learned it from the school that I can rattle it out here. Okay, so let me get my thoughts together. My collaboration and engagement with executive leadership people across the organization, spanning multiple functions, multiple countries, has been positively influenced. It's challenging. At times, you don't even understand what a French person is talking to you. I had this experience, and can you please repeat? Can you go slow? I don't really quite understand what you're talking to me, right? But that's part of the learning. But what I understood talking to senior leaders across the globe, right? Some of those are very common traits: empathy, embracing culture differences. So you give the benefit of the doubt to the other person when the other person says, sorry, I don't understand you quite well. You don't get offended, but then you give that privilege saying there's a cultural difference, right? And more importantly, it helped me in building my network in a very big way. Now, let me give you 2 examples working with leaders across the globe, how it has helped me and the people around me. Not necessarily they have to work with me, but people around me. Now, one of the time when I relocated back from Singapore to India, and I was having my one-on-one with direct reports, getting to know what they do, what their family is, what their aspirations are, all the stuff. I got to know this person. She was having a 1-year-old kid, young mother. Her husband is in Canada. Was for career perspective, he went to Canada, and she is like stuck in India, not knowing how to go to Canada and still have a job. I'm talking about some 15 years ago, so it was not that easy to relocate in those many years back. And this is where getting to know empathy and network really helped me out. I could pick up a phone call and talk to the controllership team in finance in Canada. We had quite a lengthy chat. Probably I've never spoken to any leaders for about 2 hours at a stretch. We could speak about why we should relocate this person, what is the value add we bring to the organization. Of course, we want to protect the organization interests. We don't want to do any personal favors. But at the end, we also need to balance between individuals, their career, the family. At the end of the day, arguably, I say family first. People say that, is it career or family? I would say it's family first, closely followed by the career. And then we concluded that relocating her was the best in interest for the company as well as for the employee. And in less than 30 days, she had a job at HP. She was relocated her company's expenses, and she could join her family in Canada. That could happen only because of networking and my ability to empathize. When you step out of India, when you step out of your comfort zone, when you step out of your cultural bring up or brought up, empathy becomes suddenly, something that you realize that how big it is to be. Another good example, I just give you 2 examples, is in terms of networking and then the kind of belief that we build along with senior leaders. Because you asked me, like, what does it mean working with the senior leaders? When we build that trust with the senior leaders, they go to any extent to trust you in making your vision come to happen. So one of my vision was to have improve the talent back in Bangalore. I don't want to have a copy paste, monkey see, monkey job do. We said we would like to have finance, business centric the roles open up in Bangalore, this to support Europe. And these roles, people will perform predictive analytics and sometimes even prescriptive analytics. Normally, these roles do happen alongside the business, because when you do a prescriptive analytics, we want to have the business side by side. But we were able to offshore that to India and produce best results from India. So the ability to inspire teams, improve productivity was a direct result of my collaboration with the executive teams in a cross-matrix organization, be it Europe or be it US or be it APJ region, be it finance or legal or marketing or sales across the globe, Tanay.
As someone with contributions to global talent development programs, do you find talent disparities across countries, and what advice would you like to give our viewers today with this regard?
Yes, there are differences in talents across the globe, even within the same function like finance. I can pick up and speak about a couple of roles like sales operations or marketing, sales, but those are largely influenced by the country, environment, and the culture. But back offices like HR or finance, the general thought is they need to function like the same way because the systems, the process, the tools, the policies that govern the organization is the same. But it's not that. What I found is that knowledge, business knowledge in places like, say, Singapore, Houston, Palo Alto, they are very oriented towards business. People there, finance people there are extremely business knowledge oriented. But if you look at other centers where like Bangalore, Guadalajara, which is Mexico, Poland, Wroclaw, the urgent knowledge about the modern day to deploy robotics, to digitize everything what we do is exceptionally good. It is so very good that people who are putting 30 years of experience in finance, they fail to understand that. That's because of the young age that we're talking about in these centers. And there could be a few reasons. Meaning, I've been part of the talent development for finance. I was deeply thinking about when we shuttled down the flight, let's say from Houston to Bangalore, it's like 17 hours flight. What could be the reason? And I think basic education, then exposure to business environment, the culture, opportunities that are made available to these employees. Some of these things make talent as diverse as what we see in today. Now, career growth is on top of the mind of all employees. Almost all employees who responded to the surveys, they wanted to improve their skills. The disparity becomes bigger when transformative and technological changes happen too very quickly. Employees and employers are always constantly looking out at multiple ways to enhance the skills and productivity. We don't like to be left behind, right? In today's world, which is disrupted by automation and digital workforce, I would like to recommend that people stay curious. That's something I've always found as a secret mantra for myself and everybody to succeed. Stay curious to understand everything. It could be to understand the end-to-end process of what we do. It could be curious to understand how the business is impacted by what we do. We need to be ready to embrace the change. Don't get scared. Change is always coming with a bundle of uncertainties and risks and issues and failures is part of the change, but be ready to embrace it. And most important, get out of the comfort zone. The day, meaning if you see my career, every 2 to 3 years, I keep changing it because the day I go back home, I close my eyes and go to sleep and it's fine, it's so very comfortable, no challenges. I know the next day is going to be my fingertip. I know that I'm in my comfort zone. So I just go and start saying, okay, why don't we move out of the comfort zone? So I would recommend that please get out of the comfort zone. Never stay there because the technological change is happening so very fast that people will become redundant if they stay in the comfort zone. And beside technical skills, even soft skills, networking, empathy, mentoring, and executive communications is all desirable to have. Now, I'll just give you one example, funny example. What I've seen is people love to share what they have. I think probably I'm doing exactly what I do now, right? I love to share what I have. But sadly, they do not take full advantage of the opportunities that presents itself. I'll give you an example. In my career, we had a chief operating officer coming from the US to Bangalore, and we had a coffee talk. And then, yeah, we had all lovely questions, lovely time, and he was sharing his vision. Out of the blue, one of the senior managers raised a question about temporary hiring freeze. I don't believe that was the best use of the time to ask that question to a chief operating officer. I would instead say we should be asking questions about organization's priority, leadership's vision, the changing landscape, and how can we align with those visions, and what is that we need to make those visions happen. So to sum up, right? we need to stay curious. We need to know end to end of whatever we do, be a process or be whatever, wherever we are, we need to know certain things happen before we do, certain things happen after we do. We need to know the end to end of it. And we need to know what is the impact that we create to the business. If we don't create any impact to the business, probably we are in the wrong place. And most importantly, commit for lifelong learning. And that's more important for us.
Yep. So how and when did you realize your potential in corporate governance?
In all the roles that I led, I think good corporate governance was an integral part of it, which was very evident that, like when the last role, when I got the compliance, in none of the roles, I can tell Tanmay, when I changed roles, I was never interviewed in HP. I think the good corporate governance was a part of it to give an assurance to the stakeholders that, yeah, you give it to Ganesh and probably it will make it happen. So I think the good corporate governance was an integral part of it, not just called out explicitly as corporate governance, but it being transparent rules, controls, or stakeholder management, risk management, being accountable in whatever we do, being fairness. Sometimes I even stand up for our partners, much to the discomfort of the senior leadership team. I say, but this is what, in fairness, that we have to do. We need to be fair to all the stakeholders, be maybe outside of HP. That's okay with us. Now, I will say two very examples. Very early in my career, when I was heading the sales operations, and we had a crisis in providing support because of the US sanctions, temporary sanctions. To be fair, we had to approach all our customers who got impacted, like the DRDOs and ISROs, all those organizations who are working with atomic energy. Now, I think there were two schools of thoughts. One, we say, oh, sorry, we can't support you because you were sanctioned us. But I thought my assertion was, and I put my foot down, was we need to reach out to each individual customer because we have a business relation, we have a finance relations there, and we need to go talk to them, explain to them why we do what we do, why we cannot do that is expected out of the contract, and give them an alternate so that their day-to-day operation does not come to a standstill. I mean, that's why that relationship is so very important for us. At the back end, we continuously work with the US legal department to lift those sanctions on those certain specific entities that has got nothing to do with program test. So we need to say that, okay, I understand, but one or two entities are I understand, but not those 25 bunch of other things. Right? So that's an example of being very fair in whatever we do. But another example is how do you withstand pressure? When I was in Asia Pacific, heading the finance team for sales and marketing, we had a situation to accrue a large sum of money. We got it as a marketing fund from the worldwide, and the marketing leaders were quite excited. I think it was a senior VP at the time, and said, "Oh yes, we will go and accrue this." And I said, "No, sorry guys, because we had no reason to accrue. We had nothing to accrue, and this accrual doesn't support SOX rules or even HP's financial management policies. It means that we are doing something or we're saying against the leaders, but that is accountability. That's what I call about. Come what may come, we need to be accountable to what we do. Not that just because somebody asked us to do it, we just go and do it. No, we can't do that. Even though people came back and said that, why don't you transfer the funds to all the 14 countries that you're managing and we will do it there? I said, sorry guys, now that it has come to my side, you can't do any of those things. We need to let it pass in the P&L. You cannot take it to the balance sheet. So that's the good governance inherent in all my roles at the end.
Yes. So as a corporate governance expert, what values do you bring to the table?
I already said that a lot till now, right? Many qualities like accountability, risk management, stakeholder management, transparency in what we do, long-term focus. And I've never been a guy with a short-term focus, been always long-term focus. Ethical leadership, that's the most important thing, because when you are in a very serious discussion, some of these ethics will be challenged to the core, and we shouldn't be budged by the seniority of the leaders across. We talk about it, the ethical leadership. It doesn't matter that I'm not a senior VP in the company, but still, sorry guys, everybody is an ethical leader there. So in all the roles that I led in HP, corporate governance was part of it, and whatever it delivered as a result was part of it. So these are the things. I think I would say one word, that good governance is part of my DNA now.
So, what are some ways you expect to see IoT, AI, ML, blockchain, cloud, digital twin, big data, Web 3.0, etc., all these new technologies disrupting your field?
Yeah, these names actually pull me out of the chair and I said, where are we going now? Let us recollect. Long time ago, right? Long time ago, when the computers came in, banks used to take several weeks to close the books. I still remember we
Yeah.
used to stand in long queues to draw our money. And we were quite so happy when our turn came to the teller, and we were disappointed when the teller said, I need to go for the lunch. But now with the digital technologies, it's just a click of a button. I've seen banks close their books at the click of the button every day itself. Now that's technology, and you cannot run away from the technology. So we need to learn that AI or ML is going to disrupt the way business is done the traditional way. There's no denying it. There's no defining it. There's no running away from it. The digital way has entered all the aspects of business. So the sooner the impact and benefits are understood and the sooner we embrace those technologies, it is better for us. I'm not saying the technology itself is in a very good position that can really clearly explain to ourselves what benefits they bring. Like if I talk about cloud, yeah, there are data leaks happening from cloud. So does it mean we are going to shy away from cloud? No, you can't. We need to still continue to work with technology people. How do you fix those bugs about cloud data leakage from clouds? And then ultimately, this technology will redefine the very way how we do the business. And that's what I would see it. And I would say the good governance part of it is still missing in all those technologies that we see in. So I think most of a big job could be imbibe good corporate governance in these technologies that are going to come to the market.
So we're building a community here of industry magnates. The move is meant for cross-pollination of knowledge and building a knowledge-sharing community of industry experts. What are your thoughts about this initiative taken by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Heval Mehta, and the whole World Development Corporation team?
A special thanks to the whole World Development Corporation team, not just to those two individuals. Maybe they are the leaders and pioneers in doing it too, but I know behind them there is an army of people, a small army of people to make it happen. So my special thanks to the entire army of people for this innovative idea in creating, nurturing, and bringing leaders together. I think their services will be surely benefiting the corporations and executives fraternity at large.
Great, sir. It was fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will truly inspire future leaders. Thank you so much for joining us today and wish you the best for your future endeavors. Moreover, trust that this initiative by Directors Institute unquestionably has expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
You too.